Genius, genius. Museveni, General Yoweri Museveni is a genius. According to English dictionary, genius means a person with a rare ability. We have the Guinness Book of Records, where all geniuses are recorded. A person with intellectual or creative power or other natural ability. That is what the British English Library tells us. And President Museveni qualifies 100% to be the best African genius. Guess what? Africans from the colonial time, before the colonial time, before slavery, Africa was top. Civilization started from Africa. Trust me, when the British, the white men, were living on raw meat, Africans had discovered fire and they were already eating baked and roasted meat. That's the genius of Africa. And we still have them in the name of President Museveni. In 1986, more than 37 years ago, he became president of Uganda. The world looked at him as the new breed of African leaders. Guess what? He made a statement. He said Africans were stupid. They destroyed Gaddafi because Africans were not organized. He said the colonialists came and took our wealth because we were not united. And he's calling for strategic security. And to that, he managed to navigate between the Cold War, communism, and democracy. And he managed to take over leadership. That is Museveni's being a genius. I gave 5 reasons why Museveni is Africa's #1 genius leader. That leader that Africans yearn for. I gave you the brief definition of being a genius. Let's go to the 5 reasons why I think General Museveni or President Museveni is a genius. One of the brains Africa has now. #1, he ruled for over 40 years, 4 decades. No African leader can ably rule, be elected 6 times in a democratic and colonial and communistic world where socialism versus capitalism exists, where democracy versus communism exists. President Museveni was able to rule for 40 years. The man is 80 years, but still doing 20 push-ups. Very strong, healthy, and smart. He can be president for the next 40 years. That is African wisdom. Number 2, Museveni managed more than 20 coups. He's the only president who managed a country that had over 9 presidents. That saw no transition in power from independence. That was 1962 to date. And President Museveni lived in a country which had over 5 coups. State making has been the art of war. You've heard about coups in Guinea, in Niger, in West Africa, lately Gabon, but nothing in Uganda. How? Yet we had a lot of leeway to that, but President Museveni managed to handle a stubborn country that had over 6 coups, like Nigeria, and managed to rule for 40 years with no coup. That means Museveni is a genius. Number 3, he managed to produce one of the most disciplined professional army, Uganda People's Defense Forces Army in Africa. Look, there's no army in Africa where there are more than 2 generals and you lead for 40 years and build and make them professional. They're in Congo, they're in Somalia, AMISOM, they're in West Africa, they're all over Africa doing international job. President Museveni managed to build a very strong army. Imagine more than 10 generals. And they're still going. They respect him. Where in Africa you create 2 generals and you're not kicked out of power, that means he's a genius. That is the third reason why I think General Museveni is a genius. African, fresh and watertight genius. Number 4, he groomed his son. The Museveni project. No African leader grooms a son without causing a problem within the military. President Museveni showed his being a genius by, first of all, grooming his son from a common private soldier, home guard, in the early 90s. Museveni, private to a common soldier, home guard, to date is a full 4-star general. Imagine, he managed to groom him, build the UPDF around his son, General Museveni. From nowhere, the Museveni project matured into Museveni movement, which became a big movement, second to the biggest opposition in the country. It shows you General Museveni is a genius. Yet, to show he is a genius, after grooming the son into a general, he managed to make the army commander, the other generals respect him, respect the project. He was able to hire and fire over 8-9 army commanders. The man is a genius. Imagine he hires and fires, makes his son a general, and lives on. Now it brings me to the fifth reason why I feel we must understudy Museveni being Africa's #1 genius. The final and last strategy is exposing opposition and showing the world that he's a democrat. Look, after experimenting the MK project, the Museveni movement, Museveni became so beheaded that the movement was hijacked by self-seekers. Museveni was smart to check carefully. He saw how popular the MK movement has become in terms of crowds. Then 2 weeks ago, obviously they always say the state, the army, the military, the police manhandles opposition. Opposition claimed dictatorship, suppression of votes. But guess what? President Museveni gave Museveni the chance to show how powerful he is by polling mammoth crowds. Then 2 weeks after, he gave opposition the opportunity to mobilize and move around the country without any single gunshot. Guess what? President Museveni was able to show Museveni that politics is not about crowds. Politics is more about being genius, smart. He exposed opposition, claiming that Museveni is a dictator. He harasses them. Museveni left opposition to do their work. He proved to the world that he's the best democrat. Yet we know results are determined, which democracy has determined winners. No way. So he's a genius. He knows how to do politics. So he showed Bob Wine that you can move and mobilize crowds as big as that of MK. He told MK you can move and mobilize as big as Bob Wine, but it's not about the crowds. He managed MK movement, he built MK project, managed opposition. In 2016, he made it very clear that there will be no opposition in Uganda, and to date, no opposition. We have 18 opposition exposed. They tell us Museveni is a dictator, but they're moving around the country. They tell us votes are fake, they participate because of money. Yearly, after every 5 years, opposition participate, because when you are the leader of opposition in the country, the party is given over 3 billion shillings to run its activities. MPs Each member gets over 30 shillings. Who wants change? So President Museveni has seen the stupidity in opposition and corruption and hypocrisy. He is not going to hand over Uganda to the MK movement guys who hijacked it unless MK sits down and starts rethinking President Museveni's strategies. Trust me, Museveni is a genius. You will never leave Africa and Uganda in the hands of the West or in the hands of the East. You see, most African countries are running to join BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, whatever BRICS. And Museveni is smart. He's not going there because he knows both the West and the East have got their own interests. Museveni has Africa in his heart. I'm sure you've seen he was able to move in the entire Uganda during Idi Amin's time and managed to mobilize Ugandans to fight against Idi Amin. And of course, colonialism and new colonialism. So to me, those are the 5 reasons why I think Africans must think and be genius like President Museveni. He has exposed for us opposition. He has exonerated people like Norbert Mao, who went and said, let's have a meaningful dialogue to come with a transition, change of power, because not all presidents will be genius like you being a genius. General Museveni is, and I think he cannot hand over Uganda to fake drug addicts and money-minded opposition we have. God bless. Thank you. I love you.